administration and its shortcomings. But nevertheless, yun na yung momentum. Kaya I completely agree with you, Ronald. So, a part of me feels, whatever I'm saying today, I could have been saying this in 2017-18 pa lang. If someone else were the president, whether it's Mar Rojas or Grace Mo, even Binay probably, I would have still felt confident enough to say these things. Kaya, in a way, parang delayed ito, di ba? Parang delayed recognition to or suspended recognition, right?
Yes. Kaya magandang kanyan, magandang element na the world is noticing us dahil dyan. Nangyari sa UNCLOS, ng Aquino government, kahit yung low level ng panahon ni Duterte, helped propel Marcos into a global stage because he cannot do wrong after a Duterte presidency. No? Ikalawa, ay merong bagong patriotism na lumalabas no? Dito sa mga surveys about standing up to China, itong mga lumalabas about mga civilian convoy in the West Philippine Sea, hindi lang government yung nag-stand up kundi mga non-government organizations, civil society na for a long time medyo humina nung panahon ni Digong. So meron kang bagong energy na nararamdaman, no? At tuwan-tuwa nga ako na kasabay nito ay parang merong simulang artistic movement May nagsisimulang intellectual movement. People are reading, people are studying, people are writing songs about the West Philippine Sea on their own. Hindi yan kontrata, hindi yan bayad At least 12 songs na yung nakita ko about the West Philippine Sea na from Noel Cabangon to unknown artists, gumagawa ng mga kanta. Tapos mga painters. 2 painting exhibit na yung nakita ko about the West Philippine Sea. Ngayon, mga cartoonists, ka-meeting namin kanina, gusto mag-exhibit about yung association of cartoonists. No? Yung iba ang plano, magkaroon ng contest yung ating mga elementary students about the West Philippine Sea. So, hindi lang ito usapin ng foreign policy. Meron kang bagong patriotism na nagsisimulang mag-permeate sa ating lipunan, no? Kaya maganda yan Maganda yan. Pero, ano yung kulang? Before we ask people to fight for our rights, our sovereign rights, our historic rights, we have to give them something to live for. No? Dahil kung 47% ng ating populasyon ang tingin sa sarili mahirap, what will they be fighting for? Diba? Kung karamihan sa ating mamayan nahihirapang magbayad ng electricity, which is the highest in the region, diba? Magbayad ng tubig, magbayad ng internet, which is the most expensive and yet the worst internet in the region, no? What are they fighting for? Diba? Hindi sapat that they're fighting for our seas, our land, our history. We have to give them a future to fight for At yun yung kulang pa dito sa ating narrative. Yun yung kulang pa dito sa ating vision. Hindi yan matatabunan ng bagong hymn. Hindi yan matatabunan ng bagong panunumpa sa watawat. You need something more substantial. Something which our compatriots can fight for, but we have to give them something to live for. Diba? Hindi pwedeng slogans lang about nationalism. Hindi pwedeng slogans lang about patriotism. Maganda yan, bahagi yan. But what will they be fighting for? Diba? Yun yung mahalaga. Will they be fighting for inflation? Will they be fighting for inequality? Will they be fighting for poverty? Will they be fighting for warlordism? Diba? Will they be fighting for the cartels who dominate our economy? Kailangan merong minimum na pagbabago. Hindi ko nakikita na magbabago yan overnight. But we have to give them a semblance of hope that these problems will slowly disappear because of a kind of leadership, a kind of ethos, a kind of politics na hindi lamang ini-invoke yung ating patriotism, kung hindi, binibigyan tayo ng something to live for. Yun yung nakita kong kulang sa ating Independence Day. While watching our politicians grapple with a new hymn, no? Ni hindi man lang sila nag-lip sync eh. No? O pinapanood ko ito, it's almost humorous watching them with this new hymn. We don't need that. We need something more substantial. Diba?
Well, definitely not something performative. I was wondering kung si Bato de la Rosa, sinuot niya pa rin yung West Philippine Sea shirt na designer. I'm sure ginastos na niyan. I mean, designer yan. Sana naman hindi once upon a time. So, I was checking, nag-stock ako kay Bato de la Rosa in the middle of my talks here. Ellington. Yeah, I mean, syempre nakita ko kahapon naglalabasan lahat ng mga West Philippine Sea in Chinese na shirt nila. And no, I welcome solidarity. But at the same time, just like you, ang pinaka-ayoko yung performative, yung pa-cute lang. Yung pakitang tao lang. And yeah, you're right. I mean, I noticed nga, there are two things I noticed dun sa big event sa Malacanang the other day. One is yung background music. Itong mga bagong lipunan, charot-charot nila. And the other thing is,
At
ito yung
ang tunog ay tayo na sa Antipolo. Ganyan yung naisip ko. Ganyan yung tunog ng bagong hymn eh. Tayo na sa
baka
Antipolo.
ma-plagiarize, mag-copyright trademark issue. And the other one is, of course, ito si First Lady having her moment of gobbling up yung wine ni Cheese
Yeah.
Escudero. Si Cheese ay parang naka-jaw drop lang. Ano nangyari? Ano bang
Pero-
marites sa'yo?
Pero bago yon, gusto ko lang i-emphasize, may mga several activities na mahalaga. Halimbawa, nung bisperas ng Independence Day, no? About 700, 800 students lumusog sa Klan, lumusog sa Chinese Embassy. Ang suot nila ay mga bangka. Gumawa sila ng mga facsimile ng bangka at suot-suot nila habang lumusog sila sa Chinese Embassy. These are 700, 800 students with about 50 fishermen. 50 fishermen from Bajo de Masinloc para magsalita. No? Tapos may mga ilang riders, about 100 of them, moving around the embassy. Tapos the day after, yesterday, may 800 riders ng atin ito na pumunta sa Bajo de Masinloc carrying Philippine flags at itinanim nila doon sa beach sa Bajo de Masinloc para matanaw lang nila yung ating West Philippine Sea. Something symbolic. Ganda nga ng pictures nila eh. Napalubog yung araw nung dumating sila ron. No? Tapos bumalik sila. 700-800 riders na member ng atin ito. The day before, 700-800 students going to the Chinese Embassy. So mas mahalaga ito kahit mas maliit, kahit hindi masyadong magastos. Mas maganda ito dahil may meaning eh. Di ba may kahulugan eh. No? May kahulugan. More than the hymn. More than the panata ng makabayan. Ilang ang gusto kong sabihin na meron namang mga significant celebration ng Independence Day. And I'm sure they're planning for the anniversary of UNCLOS next month. A much bigger, a much more dramatic activity.
Yeah, I think this would be the biggest ever. Of course, on my part, I'm hoping to contribute also to that, but hopefully from the Hague itself, no? Because there are going to be a number of events also at the Hague because doon naman galing arbitration award. So looking forward also dun sa mga kameta natin just in case if we have chance to also drop by dun sa Europe. Sir Ronald, bago tayo mag-transition sa Kibuloy, Duterte and all of that and yung latest sa Uniteam, whatever is left of it, if ever, gusto ko lang balikan ito kasi isa sa mga tanong na nakuha ko dito. I mean, New Zealand is a progressive country, right? So the kind of questions you get here is similar to the kind of questions you'll get in the Swedens and Nordic countries of this world, not to mention Germany, which is, okay, Philippines is growing, it's growing fast. It's not a small country, it's a quite large population, 20 times, more than 20 times New Zealand, 5 times, more than 5 times Australia. But they talk about the oligarchs in the Philippines, na kamusta, in a country still so dominated by so many oligarchs and with someone like Marcos still in charge of the country, they still wonder kung we got what it takes as a nation in terms of our political leadership and elite to become or to do things that we're seeing in Vietnam. Because Vietnam, horrible yung politics nila in many ways, but they have a egalitarian society. The Communist Party in Vietnam bothers to make sure there's minimal poverty, minimal inequality as much as they can while they're growing their population. I mean, Vietnam and the Philippines, almost the same size of economy, the same economic growth, but they add 3 million middle class every year. We add only 1 million. So you can clearly see the the differences in terms of inclusiveness. I want to ask you a little bit about that in terms of how can the Philippines keep on moving upwards in terms of average living standards of ordinary Filipinos, because the oligarchs are gobbling it up, including during your time. I mean, I'm not blaming you per se, but in 2011, 2012, ayon sa World Bank, 76% of newly created growth, so around 5% out of 7%, was only going to 40 families. Diba? So, I mean, so yun yung mga ganun tanong na nakuha ko dito. So in a way, alam mo naman na these people care not only for the Philippines economy, but for ordinary Filipinos. And they know unless you do something about the shackle of oligarchy, it's hard to move on. Ako naman, of course, my provisional answer is hindi, not all oligarchs are the same, in a sense that, you know, maybe the Ayalas and Robinsons are modernizing and moving towards a more international or standard approach to business. And well, you know who, medyo iba yung laro nila, yung iba naman sa China sila embedded, etc. But I want to add another thing, Ronald, and maybe this is also personal to both you and I. Ako, para sa akin, minsan, as much as I'm frustrated about what the oligarchs are doing to us in our country, I'm also frustrated about this culture of mediocrity and itong parochialism that we have, even with a lot of people who you expected more. I mean, let's not forget, I mean, the Harry Roques of this world did not come from rich families or hacienderos. These were people who rose through the ranks because of their intelligence, their education, and all. And the next thing you know, nung may konting lasa ng power, nasan pumunta. So, we also have this tendency that, you know, a lot of middle class people or professionals who move up the ranks, you would expect them to be the voice of the masses or the voice of the middle class. And as soon as they get a taste of power or their proximity to power, they act just like, you know, and for me, that's very frustrating, Ronald. And I'll be a bit even more personal about this. I was looking at it, and almost all my peers are abroad, right? One is teaching in Berkeley, one is teaching in ANU, one is, I can go on and on about this. And these people were driven out of the country, not only because of opportunities abroad, but because of, you know, like many people were not happy having such a smart young people in certain universities or certain institutions. So there's also that kind of professional jealousy and rivalry and all of this. And I get away with it, Ronald, because practically half of the time I'm abroad too, right? But I have had my own taste and brush with that also unfortunate, you know, culture of mediocrity. And people that I would have expected more from, yung pala hater pala sila. Yung pala, they hate my prominence, they hate my work, they hate my passion. So as much as I talk about rising Philippines, you're right. There's some more substantive things we have to do. We have to, I mean, I'll ask you, Ronald, di ba? After Sila Rizal, we have not created that kind of generation yet. I'm not underestimating my peers. I think I have brilliant peers. I'm sure you had also brilliant peers during that time. But there's something wrong also with our intellectual culture, right? There's something wrong about, I think, our education system in the sense that it doesn't create the kind of greatness we used to see more than 100 years ago. What is your read on that? Am I being, I mean, you should know more than me because, you know, people close to your heart also are no longer in the Philippines. They're based abroad. And I don't judge them for that. I think they're doing the right thing in terms of pursuing their future. But at the same time, medyo, of course, a part of me feels lonely. Like parang halos ako na lang natira sa mga peers ko sa Pilipinas. I'm sorry I'm being senti, but it did dawn on me the other day when I was thinking about it. So I thought I'll ask you this about this and what you think about it.
Yeah, una ay without being defensive, no? 6 years is too short for a good president and too long for a bad president. Di ba? Yun yung problema natin. Halimbawa, yung binabanggit mo na 2010, 2011, kasi simula pa lang yan ng bagong gobyerno. So basically, yung statistics dyan is an indication of the previous government. Di ba? Pag sinabi mo yung statistics, mas maganda sukatin yan nung end of term nung gobyerno na yon. Halimbawa, 2015 or 2016 na marami namang mga positive indicators, no? Na yung simula 2010, 2011 wala pa yan masyado. Nagsisimula pa lang diyan yung political project ng bagong presidente. So marami sa mga sitwasyon diyan, yung contradictions ng lipunan ay carry over pa nung napakahabang 9 years ni Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Diba? Yung pa yung kanya. Halimbawa yung sinasabi mo na, sino ba nakinabang sa ating growth? Dahil may growth nung panahon ni GMA eh. Diba? May growth siya kumpara nung panahon ni ERAP. Pero, who benefited dyan sa growth na yan? Ikalawa, tama. we're growing. We're growing, di ba? But we're not growing as fast as our neighbors. Di ba? Sabi mo nga, nalampasan tayo ng Vietnam. And possibly, kung hindi hindi maging inclusive yung growth natin, ay baka malampasan pa tayo ng Cambodia in 5 years, no?
Well,
Kung hindi
hindi tayo
maayos.
nilampasan in terms of size or speed. Nilampasan tayo in
No,
terms of
no.
creating growth for ordinary people. Yeah. Yung
Yes, yes. Yes, no? Ang medyo, sabi mo nga, tama yung sabi mo, ang medyo comparative sa atin, yung Vietnam. Almost the same size. Pero wala yung Pilipinas. Vietnam was almost totally destroyed by the Americans in the 70s. 'Di ba? Yung Agent Orange lang eh. Yung poison na binagsak sa kanilang mga forest at saka sa kanilang mga agriculture. Pero naka-rebound sila in a decade, and they became the biggest exporter of rice in the world. Imagine mo yan, sobrang wasak ang Vietnam during the Vietnam War, and yet they were able to leapfrog yung destruction na yan. At ngayon, nalampasan tayo. They're producing electric vehicles, for God's sake, di ba? Yun yung kanila ngayon no? Naunahan na tayo. At yung kanilang learning poverty nila is so low kumpara sa atin.
Parang 20%
Which
lang
means,
yata sa atin, 90%. Yeah.
oo, ibig sabihin, napaka-key ng education. At alam ng mga Vietnamese yan. At kahit hindi pa talaga full-blown, may nag-emerge na bagong anti-corruption movement sa Vietnam na wala tayo. Di ba? May nag-emerge even within the Communist Party. So, ibig sabihin yung comparative advantage nila lumalaki kumpara sa atin. Kaya, yung ating growth ay hindi inclusive. Di ba? Kaya, ang nakikinabang sa ating growth because of the growth of the region are still the cartels, are still the rent-seeking taipans, di ba? Sorry, Richard. Wala akong nakikita na modernizing elite sa Pilipinas. Kahit yung binanggit mo are not modernizing. They're also rent-seeking.
Ay, very
May kulanong salita na ang ibig sabihin dito ay ang pagkakaisa. Bunyog Party List. Halika na, Bunyog Party List ka na. Halika na, Bunyog Party List ka na.
Sa susunod, ang atinang suportahan, Bunyog Party List, nagtataguyod ng katotohanan, lumalaban para sa bayan.